We have an update on the motorcycle rage story that we first told you about yesterday. It's a gory scene that has absolutely gone viral. A large group of motorcyclists are seen chasing an SUV on a New York highway. One of the bikers gets bumped by the driver. Whether that was an accident or not is still in question. Either way, a high-speed chase ensues. The bikers are seen swarming around the car where the driver, Alexian Lien, is with his terrified wife and their infant daughter. According to the police, the bikers are slashing his tires. Mr. Lien then steps on the gas, plowing through several bikes, possibly paralyzing one of them for life. Minutes later, the bikers are seen smashing the window of the SUV. They reportedly drag Mr. Lien out of the car, beating and slashing him in the face. Well, today, in a new twist, all charges are dropped against Alan Edwards. He's the man apparently hitting the back window of the SUV. Another suspect, Christopher Cruz, has been charged with unlawful imprisonment and may be facing more charges. Cruz denies all allegations. The investigation is quite complex, to say the least. With us to help sift through it is former NYPD detective Tom Ruskin, and also on the phone from Reno, Nevada is my motorcycle enthusiast and club member Charlie Simmons. Good evening to both of you. Thank you so much for being with us.
Yeah, hi, Debbie.
Hey, Charlie. I'm going to start with Charlie, and then I'm coming to you. Sit tight, Tom, for just a second. Charlie, I know that you've been riding motorcycles for many years, at least 20 years, a part of motorcycle clubs. Can you, first of all, just sort of tell me from your experience what the general relationship between motorcyclists and motorists are on the road?
Yes, you know, motorcycling is my passion, but what I just heard is not my style of riding. You know, I think I can tell you that when you're riding motorcycles, when you're on the highway, you do have that sense of power that you own the highway. But, you know, there's a respect that should come from both ends. You know, the driver, the four-wheeler should give motorcycles respect and vice versa. But in cases like that story I just heard, something went wrong there. I don't know what happened, but something went wrong. But that's not my enjoyment of riding. I have a whole different style of riding.
And you know, one of the reports of one of the bikers was that this SUV apparently was going fast. I don't think they even wanted the SUV on the road with them. They tried to slow him down, which is how that initial bump took place. Do you find sometimes that cars disregard the safety of motorcyclists?
Yes, I do, and it's also vice versa. But I kind of understand what was happening there. They probably was trying to control the highway with the bikers, so they could do whatever they needed to do.
And Charlie, I'm so sorry. Go ahead.
Like that. I've been in situations like that where we don't really get in front of the car that's moving. We've been at intersections to block the intersection so the parade of motorcycles can go through. We do that kind of respect. I think the difference between this incident that happened over the weekend and the type of riding that I do is, you know, I ride a motorcycle that have communication. I have the big luxury type motorcycle that have CD or communication. And, you know, the sport bikes don't have that, so they're not able to communicate with each other. And that might tend to be, especially a large group like that. And you're supposed to ride in a formation.
Okay.
When you're on the highway like that.
Charlie, sit tight just one second. I want to bring Tom into this discussion. I see him nodding his head to some of the things that you said, and particularly when Charlie said that there's a sense of entitlement. You kind of feel like you own the road. You're a former member of the NYPD. From a law enforcement standpoint, what's been the relationship between law enforcement and these big groups of motorcycles?
Most of the time, and there's the Hells Angels, there's other large groups, there's the Blue Angels, which is made up of a lot of law enforcement people, and as Charlie said and alluded to, there's a sense of entitlement of the road of motorcycles as well as cars. And a lot of times there are accidents because drivers don't see the motorcycle or motorcyclists crash into cars. In a case like this is totally different. This is a gang mentality. These are groups of young kids who are riding along and feel like they own the road. They're blocking entrances and exits to highways. They are controlling the traffic behind them. And what they are doing is they are doing stunts in front of the cars that they're trying to control. And what I think happened from what I saw in the video, at a certain point in time, this motorcyclist slowed to such a point, the car behind him bumped him by accident. I don't think it was a purposeful act. It doesn't appear to me on the video to be a purposeful act or someone out of frustration. You're dealing with a man who's driving his wife and his infant child. he's not likely with 50 to 100 motorcyclists to do something that's going to enrage them.
And you mentioned that just recently you were sort of surrounded by motorcycles like that. I have to imagine that has to feel a bit intimidating. Maybe not for you, the big
right.
tough Tom Ruskin, but for the average motorist like me, that's got to be intimidating.
I think it's intimidating for anyone. And when I was coming back from an airport. It was on a Sunday, and I was driving on the Bronx River Parkway past the Bronx Zoo, and all these motorcyclists, these same, I don't know if it's the same group, but same type of group, passed me, and they were controlling the road. They wouldn't let anyone pass them. They were again doing stunts over the sidewalks, over the curbs, popping a wheelie, which means that they're going back on their back wheel, and they're driving along. If anyone tried to pass them, and there was a guy to my left in the left-hand lane who did try and pass them, they stopped him. They actually got 3 or 4 bikes in front of him and slowed him down so that he couldn't take over. They were blocking entrances and exits to the highway and basically acting in an unlawful way along the highway. And it was scary. It's not scary necessarily for someone in law enforcement because you've seen this before, but it's got to be scary to someone driving on a Sunday, a gorgeous Sunday, up the West Side Highway with his wife and child. Absolutely.
And Charlie, even though you are a motorcycle enthusiast yourself, you said you've had this experience where you've been surrounded by a group of motorcycles.
Oh, of course. You know, it happens to me when I'm in my four-wheel. You know, it comes up on the right side, and, or you know it, that it'll pass you, and you're happy that you didn't hit them because you didn't see them until they pass you. But, you know, I want to explain something here.
Very quickly, Charlie.
Okay, you know, I've been in groups, large groups like that, but when I ride and we ride in groups like that, we ride in formations. You know, it didn't seem like these guys was in any type of formation or any type of riding security there, you know, and I think that has a lot to do with it because if you're going to ride on a highway in a group, especially a large group, you have to respect the highway and you have to have the same rules as automobiles.
To Charlie's points, when we're dealing with Sunday's incident, we're dealing with 200 complaints that the NYPD got on these guys as they rode through the city, not just on the West Side Highway, as they rode through the city. So they weren't doing what Charlie and a lot of motorcyclists do and ride in formation and ride to enjoy the day and enjoy the road. They're riding to cause havoc along the way, and that's what happened.
Yeah, so unfortunate. There was injury and maybe even, you know, for that one motorcyclist whose mother says he may never walk again. It can be absolutely devastating.
Paralyzed
maybe
because of this terrible tragedy.
We're going to have to stop the discussion right there. But Charlie Simmons, thank you so much for calling in. I know you're out on the road traveling. I do appreciate it. And Tom Ruskin, as always, thank you very much.
Nice seeing you.
Good to see you, too. Coming up, the U.S. releases a man after 40 years in solitary confinement. You're watching Arise America.